Premise one is that whatever begins to exist has a cause. Now we know that this premise is true based upon scientific evidence and also everyday experience. Our everyday experience as we interact with one another and as we interact with reality around us tells us that things don't pop into existence out of nothing. And the question remains, if that's not the case for everyday experience, what leads us to believe that the universe could simply pop into existence out of nothing uncaused? Now, there are some scientists that have tried to prove or tried to show that this is a possibility by saying that, hey, at the quantum level with virtual particles, that we see these random fluctuations that take place, and boom, virtual particles are created and then they're gone. But here's the problem with that. The quantum realm is still something. It's not nothing. So, from personal experience, scientific verification, there has never been one single piece of scientific evidence that we've seen that shows that something has been produced or come into being from nothing. So let's move to the second premise of this argument. The universe began to exist. Clearly, from the scientific evidence that we've seen over the last 100 years, it points to a beginning of the universe at a finite time in the past. For instance, we see things like the second law of thermodynamics that states that in a closed system, the usable energy within that system is finite, that at some point along the line, the energy will be spread out and reach equilibrium. There will be no more usable energy. Now, if that's the case and the universe is infinite, then why haven't we already reached equilibrium? Seems to point to the idea that because we haven't reached equilibrium, therefore the universe hasn't used up all of its usable energy, and therefore the universe had a beginning in the past. Now recently, there's been what's called the Borde-Guth-Vilenkin theorem, which states every universe that has been expanding throughout its history on average must have a beginning. And Alexander Vilenkin, as I'm paraphrasing him, who's an agnostic, states that with the proof now in place, cosmologists, those people who study the origins of the universe, cannot hide from a beginning of the universe. Given that premise one is true and premise two is true, it logically follows that premise three is also true, that the universe must have had a cause. Now, when we look at premise three and we ask the question, what's the best explanation for the cause? Well, we need to take some features of the universe and extrapolate that out. So we know that the universe is made of time, space, and matter. Therefore, whatever caused time, space, and matter must be timeless, spaceless, and immaterial. It also must be extremely powerful in order to create the universe. Also, we know that it should be personal as well. Because there's no material explanation for the universe, the only other explanation available in the realm of conceptual analysis is that it was done by a personal being. So as we look at the Kalam Cosmological Argument, we can know, based upon premise one and premise two, that premise three follows, that the universe had a cause, and when we look at the best explanation for that cause, the cause is a timeless, spaceless, immaterial, powerful being. Now that sounds a lot like, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.